welcome to the SBO to CEO podcast. I'm super duper excited because I have twin powers with me today. And so I want to make sure we give them enough time to tell us about their journey, tell us about their journey with establishing structure in their business. Lots of exciting things to get into today. So, Dwayna, do you want to tell us a little bit about who you are and who this duo is?
Yes, thank you, Mia, so much for having us today. We're really excited about the conversation. I have been living in Atlanta for the past 9 years, and I really came out here on a mission to pursue my PR career. Um, so I graduated undergrad. Just to give you a little bit of my story, I graduated undergrad with a communications degree. I just knew I wanted to do something within PR and marketing, right? I've had like the internships to where I was able to, work on grassroots marketing campaigns, PR campaigns, and really got my feet wet in that industry. I'm like, okay, I know this is what I want to do, but it was just a hard time for me finding that type of work. I was not able to find work. Like I was just not able to like I applied to maybe 100 jobs.
Mhm.
And denial after denial after denial after denial. Now, hence, I said that I have the experience with the internships, some really great notable companies that I was able to add to my resume, but it just something wasn't sticking, right? Something just wasn't sticking. I also graduated magna cum laude. So I was just like, God, what is happening? And during that time, my faith was really tested, but I realized that the area that I was in just wasn't the space for me to thrive and grow like I needed to. So I was on a mission to make sure that wherever I decided to go, that was going to be the place to where I was going to really pursue my career and no questions asked, just do what I would do whatever I needed to do to open whatever doors I need to open for myself, right? And here we are today, 9 years later, operating under our business, TGND Consulting. We decided to come together as business owners, and Donna is actually going to be jumping in a second. We're mompreneurs, and baby boy has to be fed. We are breastfeeding moms as well, so she'll be jumping on in a second to kind of share more of the reason why we decided to come together and collaborate on this company. But essentially, like as I was working at PR, we just realized there was a gap for brand strategy and digital marketing, right? So a lot of these great thought leaders, they wanted to be known for their thought leadership and their expertise in that specific area or industry, but they weren't really showing up how they needed to when it came to just being seen online. They may not even had a website, right? But I was able to still get them featured as a freelance publicist and a media relations manager because I'm great at crafting stories, being able to pull out the story from your experiences and mesh it with your thought leadership. But with that gap in just them showing up cohesively online or just not even showing up online at all, and then also with their brand image whenever they did get featured, it seemed like there was a lack of knowledge around how to show up as your brand, right? Your brand you. It's like, yes, we were able to get you featured, but now it's like what else do they get from you when you show up to the interview? How are you going to be seen, right? How are you showing up when it comes to the things that you're wearing, to your body type, or to just like your appearance, or your so say for example, if I got somebody a demo, the different what is it called, collateral or things that you're bringing to showcase your expertise, so making sure that everything aligns, right, outside of just what you're saying, because people can get lost in the words. I could talk all day and you probably don't hear half of the things I say, but I remember how you look. I remember that piece of whatever you had on your demo with you, or that product or that service. I'm gonna remember that, right? So making sure that everything was cohesive, we realized there was a gap for that. So me and Donna was like, why not come together with your image consulting background? You are very creative. You have creative director vision. Let's go ahead and come together with my expertise and my gifts, your expertise and your gifts, and let's make our business something that is unique, because a lot of people weren't offering that at the moment.
Mhm.
So here we are today again, operating our business. Donna's been in the business full time for about almost going on 3 years. This will be the third year. Um, and we have grown so much. The journey has been interesting for sure. But we have really been able to grow as CEOs and co-founders and small business owners. And that's why we're here today to share that.
Oh my gosh, so many things to get into. So one is you said you noticed a gap. And that's really why you started your business, which I think is really, really important that you were able to say, not only is this my gift, this is also a gap. So
Yeah.
kind of like how you thought from going from, hey, this is an idea to no, this is a legit business.
Yeah, so that whole process is very interesting, okay? Because even though I say I started off as a business owner, but I was really operating as a freelancer, okay? And I say that because you know it's a difference, right? I say that because um, it's like again, when I started off, I was working as a contractor, right? And not really knowing the ins and outs of like legalities of as far as like what you're required to do, what you're supposed to do as a contractor, what you're not supposed to do, things employees do, things employees don't do. And so there was a lot of kind of gray areas to where I was kind of just happy to show up and do the work that I wanted to do within my gifts that I was really not even operating as a business owner. I wasn't, right? So I had to do like a lot of mindset work, but then also I had to set up things in the business to for it to function as a business. So me personally, you can't tell me that you have a business, but you can't even properly invoice me through your business bank account or through you know what I'm saying? You can't you're asking me to cash app you. To me, so it's like certain things in business. But that is one of my pet peeves. If I hire on a contract and I can't pay you properly, I can't work with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I gotta go through jumps and hoops to try to pay you, it's gonna be a problem. So like things like that, I realized that yeah, you saying you're a business owner, but you're not operating as a business owner. You're not showing up as a business owner. You're showing up as a contractor, sis. You're
Yeah.
showing up as a freelancer, and you just showing up to do the work. Like you don't have like your own processes and procedures, right? You don't have the business structure that needs to be set up. You all you guys have is an LLC,
Oh, girl, you
right?
tell toes. You're stepping.
Yeah, so
All you got is an LLC.
all you got is an LLC. I mean, and that's a great step. That's the first step, right? Making sure you have the LLC, making sure you have the trademark and things of that nature. But that's only the first step. There are so many other different things that you have to have set up. There are so many other different things. First of all, your mind got to be set up, not even just the business structure and the processes and the procedures. Like, where is this at, right? So we
Let's
had to do a lot of work to get to where we are today.
let's dig into that, Dwayna, because I do think that that could get overlooked, the mindset piece of it all. Because you can have glorious process and procedures, invoicing all of the things, but if you're mentally still operating as a freelancer, if you're mentally still showing up as a freelancer, you're still going to be limited. So tell me about some of the mindset shifts that you in the work that you did.
Yeah, like so for me, I would so one of the things I realized, it's like a lot of self-awareness through this journey as well, for me anyways. One of the things I realized as far as the way I was showing up, it was just like happy to do the work, right? And that's great and dandy, right? You always got to be happy to do the work, but it's like what boundaries have you set up in place to be able to operate like that, right? So I realized with the way I was operating, I was always easy accessible to my clients. Like you could literally message me at 10 p.m. and I'll probably respond, quite
Mhm.
frankly, or Voxing me or whatever. And or if it's an email, it was like I was so attached to just getting like being so happy with doing the work that I finally wanted to do that I was really missing the aspect of like we know when we go into the bank closes at 5, typically 9 to 5, right?
Yep.
Close at 5, and you don't get in contact with that bank to the next said day, or if you have the customer service team, right? Um, I was never closing. I was never closed. It was like, girl, huh? You what business never closes? And but it's like you're never closing operating as a solopreneur, right? You're never closing because at that time I was operating, even though me and Donna was in business together, she was working full time. She was working full time and she just had a baby. So a lot of it was me operating as a solopreneur. It's like, girl, how are you doing that? So that's an example of like just the never closing, right? That was a mindset shift that I had to do. I had to set boundaries. Even when it came to the one of the mindset shifts of like being clear on the services that and offerings I provide, right? So example of that is I'm providing marketing PR services strategies to a client. They may be like, well, I have a need for this, and it's necessarily not something that's in the scope that we agreed on, but I'm always going outside their scope, right? I'm
Yeah.
going outside of the scope and giving people extra, right? So then now they always expect extra. So they
Yeah.
always expect Dwayna to do more because she's happy to do the work and she's gonna do more. But that only leads to what? Burnout. That
Mm.
leads to people not respecting your time and your boundaries. And I'm not saying that was like a common theme for clients or whoever I worked with. I'm just saying like these are things that I had to realize that you can't necessarily do this. And then also one of the things from operating as a freelancer to a business owner is really protecting our business and brand, like protecting that reputation. I was so just happy to again, I was excited because I talked about just the challenge I had even getting into the space that I had to basically create the door for myself. Even the way I operated with other women in my industry, I realized, Dwayne, you can't do that because everybody's not friendly like you. They
Mhm.
will like somebody will literally you will give them some information or give them something, and next thing you know, somebody stabbing you in the back. So
Mhm.
so it was more so I really had to figure out, okay, how can I create an internal team instead of relying on because it's great to rely on community, right? We should be able to collaborate instead of compete. But it wasn't like that for me. I had a lot of I have a great stories about different things that I've experienced, thinking I could collaborate or partner with different PR women or publicists, whatever. And it's specifically the craziest thing, 9 times out of 10, I more so got that type of vibe and the negativity from people that look like me. It wasn't even the other people. So the one of the mindset shifts that I had to really work on is just bet on you, Dwayna. Bet on you. You got this. Yes, it's great to collaborate, it's great to connect, and we do that every Friday. But bet on you, keep things internal, build your internal team, and really show up as a business owner. Make sure your things are set up. Make sure you have a business bank account. Make sure you have a CRM. Make sure you have processes and procedures. Make sure things are automated. Like focus on that, right? Instead of focuses on what other publicists you can connect with or
Mhm.
who you like. Obviously building relationships is important. It's an important piece of being a publicist, but focus more so on the business structure and internal things, and everything else will show. Everything else will come to fruition. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like kind of having instead of having a seat at somebody else's table, we've created the seat for like the table for ourselves. We built our table, and now we're like, okay, people can come have seats at our table, type thing, versus trying to
So that's somebody
sit
else's
at
table.
other people's tables who are yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I like how you explained that. But I think the mindset shift was it it is and was very imperative. And for me, it happened a little bit later because as Dwayna mentioned, she was in the business working it full time, right? I was still working corporate, doing the business full time, part time, and then it was like I was in and out, and it was like I had once I had to make that step to leave, that was the beginning of, I would say, my mindset shift because it was different from being in a business part time to now doing this full time and this being the complete source of income, complete source of everything that I do on a day to day. So for me, I think the difference between I feel like the first 2 3 years, like I'm going into that third year as the one to explain, I'm still working on the shifts, right? Because there's different journeys within the one entrepreneurship journey. It's like you get to those different levels of and then you have to pivot. So those are other shifts you have to make as well. But I really like how you explained that one. And we also have our coworker here, the little Josiah. So excuse me, he's babbling here in the video. He wants to be a part of the call.
As a mompreneur, sometimes they show up with us. Sometimes,
Is what it is, right? And we're still
yeah,
gonna
we are preparing you. Okay.
exactly. All the mompreneurs are gonna appreciate this moment. So tell me about the shift, Dwayna specifically, that maybe you had to when you brought on your sister into the business. And then I'd love for you to talk about, Donna, how you had to shift from corporate to this being your soul. Like, what was that like? And what was that like in terms of the relationship as well? Because, there are other people who are doing business with their family. Were you guys fearful? Like, tell me all the things.
Yeah, so the crazy thing is me and Donna, we are twins, right, guys? So I don't know if you can tell now, we are identical, right? So we typically look alike, especially if you don't know us. And we've always been conjoined at the hip, like everything we done together. So we didn't really separate until like junior year of college to kind of like spread our wings, but that was only like 3 years post starting this business. So again, we were pretty much doing everything together, right? So we had a really close, tight-knit relationship, right? But as Donna came into the business, we realized we started to kind of bump heads a little bit, right? A little bit more than we typically did, right? And I think a lot of times we would kind of bite our tongues and necessarily I guess I will say necessarily say bite our tongues around different ways we was feeling because we never, even though we were conjoined at the hip, we never like worked with each other. So being with each other 24/7 and actually working with somebody is two totally different things, right? It's because you really don't even, and I didn't even pay attention to this, but like when you're constantly spending time with somebody, whatever relationship it is, you may not necessarily understand like their work ethic. I could be with my husband all day every day, right? But I don't know how he's showing up at work unless he's talking to me and telling me. And I realized me and Donna never really talked about work. I mean, we talked about work, but it wasn't like a conversation of like that. It was like more so us knowing what we wanted to do and career wise, but never necessarily saying things we went through and experienced at work is what I'm trying to say. So we had to learn a lot when it came to work ethic. I'm more of like a stickler. I'm like, okay, when it comes to work, I'm like, I can be very serious. And which can come off different sometimes depending on the situation at hand as far as like what we're working on. But I realized doing you got to calm down a little bit. You are kind of a little bit too serious, right? Let's still make work fun and not all, no, we got to do this. But I think at that point, it was like when Donna came in again, I was already operating the business by myself for about 5.5, 6 years. So it was like, no, we need to get this done ASAP. You in now, let's go ahead and hit the ground running. But I think I was coming off a little bit too aggressive, right? So we really was kind of bumping heads to a point to where we ended up hiring on two coaches. So we hired an HR coach and we did a call just to we kind of knew we started talking about just the way we was feeling about business. And I started being more communicative about Donna truly showing up in the business 1000% because I just at that point it was like, girl, the business is growing. I started hiring on contractors, but it was like, no, I need you. Like it's today. And then she was like, okay, I got you today. Okay. So needless to say, we had to really figure out how each other worked. We had to really understand how each other worked when it came to actual work and not just like being in a relationship as far as being friends and sisters and twins. But then also we had to bring additional people in to help us see things that we may not necessarily wanted to truly understand and know. Because some of the things when we brought in people to help us, we had an HR coach come in and we basically kind of did a kind of analysis with her to kind of see what we needed to do. And we needed to bring somebody on to kind of be the mediator. Because that was one thing that we didn't have and we didn't want to include our family in the mediation. It was more so it's like we're in business together. They don't need to be in our business about business, right? So we worked with the HR coach. She was like, "Oh no, y'all need a therapist." That's what she told us. I love. She was like, "Y'all need a therapist, girl."
Yes.
Like we was like, "What?" Like I mean, that's maybe right. That may be true. Everybody right? But no, we need an HR coach, right? So we was okay, let's run it back. And we realized, let's go ahead and invest a few $1,000s into doing a VIP day with a coach and restructuring the business. So that way Donna could truly show up in her gifts, truly feel like she's operating in the business and shining in her gifts, but then also I could feel like I'm not doing everything by myself. So we restructured the business, and that was really beneficial for us. Like, we took a whole weekend to she came down to Georgia. We invested into the coach, and we restructured the business, and ever since we've been going we've been going up from there. I won't say kind of, we have been. I say kind of because it's been a rocky road lately with just like dealing with life, ebbs and flows of life and business, but really had to bring on a mediator, hire on team to really allow us to really truly see what we needed to see. And it made sense. So now we really are showing up in our gifts. We realize that, some of the things that we may have bumped heads about prior to bringing on the coach was necessarily that, Dwayna, you need to figure out what you love to do versus what you like to do. Because I'm like a type A and type C person. I'm analytical and creative. And you typically you are either or, right? You're not both. So that was something that was like ahas for me, just like how I show up as a leader, how Donna shows up as a leader, like truly understanding like what that even looks like and mean and operate in, and knowing what those roles are that we're supposed to operate in. So we really had to make sure that everybody just knew what they were supposed to be doing, how they were supposed to be showing up. And that's when the processes and procedures really became a thing for us.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely hit it right on the head there. And I know, Mia, you asked about like the transition from like corporate to CEO, right? And I think that was very challenging because when you think about corporate, right? You in corporate, you have different departments. You might have a sales department. You might have like you have all of these different departments, and like you're working within your role. Now, granted, and when I was in corporate, I was a part of the HR department because I was a sales trainer, right? But then I was a sales trainer, so I also helped out on the sales floor. So sometimes I would be like a supervisor, but it was all in the realm of things that I was doing, right? That my day-to-day job required. So it was nothing that I was doing out of the norm. When you become a CEO, you're doing things out of the norm because, especially when you are growing and scaling a company, you have to play sales, you got to be operations, you have like there's so many moving parts. You're the social media strategist, like you're all of these things, and it's like, wait, I wasn't fully prepared for that transition. It was like, wait, I'm being pulled here, I'm doing this, I gotta do this, I gotta show up here, I gotta do that. But all meanwhile, still be a mom, still be a wife, still be all the things that Donna was at the moment. So that was I would say was one of the most challenging parts for me, just with the transition of balancing. We're going to cut the word balancing out. We're going to say creating harmony between all the roles that we play as mompreneurs, right? Because there's one hat I have to wear where, okay, I'm home with my child is here. I have to be a mom. I have to make sure his breakfast is cooked. But then also my clients over here needs me. Over here, the business operations needs me to do this. So it was like so many different moving parts. I think one of the things that truly helped me and helped us together was when Dwayna just mentioned us actually investing in that coach and kind of restructuring everything, putting processes and procedures together. And me and Dwayne, I think we do great communicating with one another. It's sometimes it's still a challenge, but we're gonna make sure we are both aware of how we're feeling, whether it's the same day on the phone call or next week. It's like, okay, last week I didn't like when you did this or when you said this, and we are really really great communicators, and we've learned that some things we're just going to have different perspectives on because, as she mentioned, she can be very analytical, and it's like, okay, sometimes I'm like, Dwayne, okay, let's put the creative hat on. It doesn't have to be so black and white, like because her process is A, B, C, D. I might be A, C. Okay, we go back to B, right? So we're just really realizing that we process things differently, and it's okay.
And I was like, no, you can't skip B. You can't skip it. You have to do A, B, C. And honestly, as long as you get the result, doesn't matter the process. I mean, obviously, we create processes and procedures for a reason, right? But does it really matter as long as you're getting the result? It's like, so yeah, I was just adamant, like, no, don't skip B. Do not skip it. You can't. Yeah,
Listen,
and
analytical person and as a person who does systems, I totally get it. But I also live in the real world where I work with so many business owners and life just be life and that means the business just be business and like things happen.
Yes.
And so to your point, I've had to be like, okay, but as long as we get to the end, right?
yeah,
And as long as we get to the result. And what I really, really want business owners to know is that those processes and procedures are guidelines, right?
Yes.
Your infrastructure, that is your foundation. If we have nothing else to fall on, this is what we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
It should not stifle creativity. It should not stifle who getting things done. So I'm
Yeah.
so glad you said that. Sorry,
yeah.
I'm in the
And then
mood.
me, I want to add something else to that because Donna, you mentioned something about just like the bringing on a coach and even the decision to bring on a coach and to invest the thousands of dollars. That was hard
Mm-hmm.
for Donna. She was just
Mm-hmm.
like, we can't do this. I'm like, no, we need to do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Right. And I think too, like a lot of times when you're starting off as a business owner or a CEO, you're scared to invest and to really build team and to bring people on to help you scale and grow the way you need to. But during that time, I think I was like, I was over the fear. I was over that. At that point, it was like, no, we hiring on contractors. I've been hiring on contractors all year. We're gonna bring somebody in. Yeah, we may not need to you may not want to invest these thousands of dollars, but we need to.
Yeah.
And the result was beneficial. It was helpful, right? And then Donna was like, "You right, you right. We needed to." But seeing that invoice for them thousands of dollars, she was like, "I don't. Who doing that?"
I don't think we should do this right now. Maybe in a couple more months. Let's revisit this quarter three. I
And
mean,
I'm
like
like,
that.
"Well, we visit in quarter three. We may not still be here, girl. We need to do it. Let's go ahead and do it." But yeah, it was really beneficial for us for sure.
That's good. So let's talk about some of the benefits and having some of that structure and having some of that foundation and having clearly defined roles. Like, how has it really changed and shifted the way that you all like show up even as business owners?
Yeah, so it allowed us to really be clear on like operations and just the flow of the way our clients come in and go out, right? And they not necessarily go out because they may continue working with us or come back after a certain amount of time, but it's just the way we deal and handle with clients from start to finish. Um, so we realized like even with the process of like I'm gonna give an example. It would be typically, since I was in the business full time, clients typically like knew speaking to Dwayna, right? But once we did our pivot and revamped our business structure, it was like, Dwayna, I realized that I didn't necessarily want to be speaking with the clients all the time. And Donna was more of the person that would have the connection of making you feel like you've known her for years versus me. I'll get straight to the point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like that was an opportunity for me to realize like Dwayna, let's go ahead, and even though you've been doing it and you're used to doing it, you don't need to do it. So it allowed me to really step back and take off some things out of my plate that I would just like, it was like, you don't need to be doing this, right?
Mm-hmm.
But just knowing that Donna was learning that Donna is like more of the person that I can speak with somebody and I could have conversation with somebody I don't know, right? But I realized like Donna is the person that she makes people just feel super duper comfortable, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like way more comfortable than you make them feel doing it. So let her be the one to have the catch up calls and just make sure she gets the rundown for what's what, right? And I think I answered your question. So let me know if I kind of reeled off a little bit. I do that sometimes with just talking and going through my thoughts, but that's how I like to answer that question. I answered your question, Mia.
What you're saying is I was able to align with something that I actually enjoy doing, not just have to do, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
so important because I even tell leaders this too, like to be able to operate in your zone of genius. Some people despise operations. Some people despise writing down, having SOPs. That's fine. Well, then you
Mm-hmm.
need to hire it because it's still important, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying is it gave you the freedom to like just operate in the things that you love to do and are really, really good at. So,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Donna, did you want to add anything to how it benefited you all having that alignment?
Yeah, so I think it helped us. I feel like with us operating in our roles really helped us show create and show the story that we of what we truly do, what we bring to the table for clients, right? Because um I would say, like Dwayna mentioned, she's creative, she's analytical, right? But when we have our clients and we are very visual storytellers, it's super important to have each aspect of telling the story, and a lot of that is the creative part, right? Yeah, the analytical part, you got to have your framework in place. You got to have a cohesive brand. Like those things matter, the steps. But it's like, okay, how are we able to tell those stories not only for ourselves as a business owners, but also for our clients. So it truly helped us shine in the gifts that we do have.
Understanding
But
that story, truly understand.
yeah, it helped us share the story so people can really get in alignment of like, this is what they do, this is what they offer, this is the full package. Because I would say at the beginning we were still when I first got into the business, it was like yeah, we don't see this, like we weren't really seeing like the brand image side of things, right? And it was like, okay, how are we going to create that story and operate within our gifts so we can tell that story? So it truly helped us be able to do that as well
And
with our brand.
and Donna, when you say brand image side of things, we offer brand imaging and strategy as well as PR and strategic
Yes.
marketing. But with me not having I wasn't an image consultant, right? Again, I can create a pitch, I can get you featured, I can tell you what you need to be saying, do your media
Mhm.
training. But as far as knowing what you need to wear for your body type, that is just not something I care to do, right? It is not, I've never been into like fashion like that. I like fashion, but it was not like to a T. No, that was more so Donna, right? But even with that, it's just like truly being able to let clients know like this is what we provide brand
Yeah.
image strategy, and the person that is here to do it is fully showing up now. So it was something that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with even truly showcasing, because that wasn't something that I did, even though that
Mhm.
was like a part of the business services. Being that Donna wasn't in the business full time, I was more so focused on, okay, strategic marketing, brand
Yeah.
strategy, so we realized that people are not booking this service because they don't even know you truly do it, right? They don't even know you truly do it. So allowing us trying to really figure out and hone where we need to be showing up really allowed us to perfect our offerings and services that we
Yeah.
are focusing to our clients.
Mhm.
That's awesome. And then what about for your team? How did that help you all show up for your team and managing the day to day?
Yeah, listen, so after that, we hired on a VA, we hired on a copywriter, we hired on a contractor for project-based things. So we literally had a full team after that. We had a full we had interns, we had 3 interns. So we literally, once we restructured, we were able to build a full team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was something that we were really proud of. So that's how we was just like, okay, this was the best decision we could have made, is doing
Mhm.
re-strategizing our business and restructuring it, because now we have a whole team.
Mhm.
Yeah. And we were able to know like who does what with the team, right?
Mhm. Who we
Like,
need to hire
okay,
next.
yeah,
Who
who
we
we
need to
who we need
hire
to hire
next.
next, who does
Mhm.
what with the team, who does the team report to do this. So it
Mhm.
just gave us more clarity.
So Donna, for the person who may have been maybe a little bit like you in terms of, do we really need to hire a coach to help us like build this strategy out and all of this? What would you say to them? Like what helped you other than Dwayna saying we're doing this? Like what helped you kind of resolve like this is probably the right thing to do, and then also like benefits like to do
Yes,
it.
it's so knowing that you have to invest as a business owner, you have to invest is imperative, right? And it can be scary when you come from a corporate background to where you have like this, you have a paycheck that's guaranteed, like you know exactly what you're going to get. And as a business owner, you're like, okay, well, we know we have our revenue goals, but it's like I'm working to move the muscle when it comes to what we're collecting, what if we're able to take anything home to keep the lights on, or if we're able to invest anything in our business. And as a business owner, you see all the moving parts to keeping something going. When you're working for corporate, it's like, no, I mean, I just know that I get paid for the job that I do, but it's like someone else is keeping that revenue going, and it's like not just someone else, is a whole team. So I think what truly helped me like be okay with the investment, and what can help others is like knowing that this is a true investment. You will see the return later. You would not, and it doesn't always have to be monetary. Like sometimes like the investment and the return is going to be something more than the money can actually buy, right?
I
And
was going to have you say
it'll work out
that.
in the long run.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
I was going to have you talk about just the way you felt, like mentally
Yeah.
after. You felt really good after, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
She felt like, okay, now because I feel like too, when Donna first came on, she just felt like she was doing work that she had no experience in, right? She was just doing
Mhm.
things to do it because she needed to be in the business full time, and that was a decision she decided to make to really show up for the business. And she that when you're doing a job that necessarily it feels like it's sucking the life out of you every day because you don't really know what you're doing, or you may not understand the process, or you may not understand how to even get to the result, or whatever the situation is, right? Whatever the thoughts that was going, and I would love for you to even share, Donna, some of the thoughts that was going through your head. It's hard to like once we transition, I could see just the way she felt mentally. I could see it showing up of
Mhm.
how she showed up on a day-to-day call or to work. It was a true difference when it came to just the what am I trying to say, the company culture that we were creating,
Yeah.
the just yeah, just the vibes that we were trying to create as business owners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I mean, before the investment, it was like it was very draining, because it was like I was already trying to do something. It was like something that was out of my norm, right? I was used to getting up, going to the office. I had to start like a structure about my days, right? And it was like when I became in the business full time as a CEO, it was like, wait, this doesn't feel right. Like this doesn't feel good. Like I don't even feel confident in what I'm doing, right? Or I'm gonna try to do it, but then it's like, okay, I know it's not gonna be good enough, you know? So just like talk about mindset, like knowing what you can do to truly show up in your gifts, and knowing that it's gonna be the best,
The
right?
word that
And for
came
me,
from me,
yeah,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but a word that came from me was you said the confidence and not good enough, the imposter syndrome. And that comes up for everybody.
imposter syndrome. I had it bad. I had imposter syndrome bad, and it really made me realize, okay, something has to like something got to shift, right? So it definitely helped me push the needle on that for sure. And I've always been like a confident person. Like you could nobody see me and say that I wasn't confident, but it was like this. I don't feel good. This doesn't feel good. So yeah.
So what is one thing, if you were to look back on the time that you've been in business and been in business together, that you wish you would have known before that you not know now?
Mm.
So one thing I wish I would have known is that the journey, there's no one way to get to the through this journey, right? What's going to work out for one business owner may not work out for your business, and being okay with that, and really knowing like, okay, having the outline for what's going to work for you and your team, and like kind of like blurring out the noise of what the gurus are doing, what works for them, like how they set their days up. It's going to be different for you, and you have to do what's going to work for your business.
Yeah, I would say the piece of advice I would leave is just to never stop investing into your business. I got two pieces. Okay, so to never stop investing in your business, and they both deal with just monetary. So to never stop investing into your business, but also to make sure that you are clear on who and how you need to hire people. And with that, with scaling and growing a business, you got to always make sure that sales is the first thing. So even as a CEO that or a solopreneur that it may just be starting off, even if you're working and doing majority of the things in the business, sales has to be the focus, because word of mouth and referrals only get you but so far, right? And that's something we've actually experienced. Again, we've been in business for 8 years, and we realized that word of mouth and referrals has been keeping the lights on. But we're 8 years in, and now that it's word of mouth and referrals, that's not the top lead generation now. Word of mouth and referrals is not the top lead generation, especially with just the way the economy is going, the hit that the marketing industry is taking.
Mm-hmm.
So just making sure that you are clear on who you need to hire and invest in when it comes to growing your business, but then also being clear on making sure that I don't know why I'm losing my train of thought in the process of me saying this, but just really be clear on knowing the numbers, focusing on the sales, and knowing what you need to invest in. It's essentially what I'm trying to say.
No, well said. And what's the most valuable piece of advice that you would give? And I want one of you to take the SBO to CEO, the other one to take for the mompreneur.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll take for the mompreneur. I would say grace. Give yourself grace. Grace is going to get you through the tough days. It's going to get you through the best days. It's going to get you through this journey, because there's no blueprint, right? And as we're here today on this call, like I have my 1-year-old here, and it's like, wait, well, we got to do what we got to do. We got this call. His nap time. He didn't want to go get laid down, so here we are, right? And I'm gonna give myself grace instead of being stressed out about him being up on this call. It's like, wait, no, I'm an entrepreneur. This is what we do. We get the job done, regardless if we got the baby babbling here right here in the background or not. It's gonna get done, and I'm still gonna get my message across, and this is still gonna be a good story to somebody. Someone's gonna be able to relate to this. So it's like I'm gonna give myself grace, and we're gonna get through the day. So grace, keep that in the forefront of everything you do in this mompreneur journey.
Jojo say yeah. He said yeah. Okay, I love that. I love that. The grace was something I definitely had to learn along the way for sure. So that is a big one. It is a big one. I would say from SBO to CEO is really, and I guess this goes back to the last piece of valuable information, but in order for you to truly show up as a CEO, you got to let some things go. Okay. You got to let things go. You have to let things go. You cannot think that you're about to, you don't see the CEO of I'll say Starbucks, because I love Starbucks. Working the counter, you don't see him as a barista, right? It's like, or you don't see the CEO of Nike. Like he's connecting and growing and continuing to grow the business and making executive decisions. He's not working the business. So one of the things that I would say, to prevent burnout and overwhelm, if you can, try to figure out how you can grow your team, how you can grow your team, and utilize whatever resources you can to do that, because it is really important for you to show up truly as a CEO to keep the business going. You can't think that you're going to be in this bit, and then some people do it. Some people do it. I don't know how, but 10, 20 years from now and be like, I've been a solopreneur for the past 5 decades. Some people do it, and they may end up with health issues. They may not. But I'm not trying to end up with health issues. I'm not trying to be stressed and overwhelmed all the time. I'm trying to live young. I'm trying to retire. I'm not trying to work the business for the next 30 years. I'm trying to scale. And eventually, the reason why you create businesses is to either get acquired or to, to pass down to your children. So really truly understand the purpose of why you created the business, and know that to operate as a CEO, you have to let things go and you have to build on team. So that way you can shine that gift to keep the business going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna leave this last bit of time to both of you to say, whatever it is we didn't cover that you wanted to make sure gets covered, if you have anything coming up. Any last words of advice? The floor will be yours, and then we'll go into letting them know how to find you on social media.
Absolutely. So one of the things we talked a lot about mental health and wellness, right? One of the things we do for our clients is provide them with breakthroughs. And the first step to get into that breakthrough is mental health and wellness, right? The second step is being able to have a compelling story that you crafted and that you're telling people, that you're letting people know about. And that third step is the how to. And that after you get to that third step, then you get to your breakthrough, right? Um, and we are wanting to help all of our clients or anybody that we come in contact with that's a female entrepreneur, a lifestyle brand, really be able to craft their story, right? And a lot of times people may think they have their story crafted, but there's a lot of things missing. So for example, we have a workshop to where we help you craft your stories called the PR Architect Workshop. And we had a student go through the workshop, and now she just invested thousands of dollars into branding, photo shoots, and things of that nature. So she thought she was done, right? And that's one of the things we provide for our clients, making sure the brand is cohesive. But after taking the workshop, she realized there was plenty of pieces in her story that she wasn't even sharing, right? She wasn't sharing any of the information with the individuals. And one of the things that we like to tell clients is like, even if it's something that you feel like is personal to you, figure out a way that you can make that connection and share it, right? Because,
Mhm.
for example, this young lady, she has sickle cell. She left corporate, went into full-time business. She's a boy mom of two, and she did all of this battling sickle cell. But nobody knows you have sickle. That's the big part of the story, right? So not even just incorporating that in the story, but now think about how you doing all of this could help with future partnerships. You could literally have an event and have one of the nonprofits of the sickle cell, one of the foundations, sponsor your event, or you could now partner with them and share your story with them, and they can help you share your story to greater masses. So
Yeah.
really, truly understanding what your story is and how your life experiences correlate that with that. Again, some people may not want to share their health, anything that's going on with health or anything that may be personal, but how else is somebody supposed to truly connect with you, right? Truly understand you, truly understand your story. We have to share our experiences.
Mhm.
And so for our workshop, we still have enrollment. It's pre-recorded, so we are offering opportunities for people to really truly understand if they're sharing the story properly,
Mhm.
and if they're not sharing their story at all, ways and strategies on how to even craft that story and share it. So we wanted to share our PR architect workshop with everybody. It's on sale now for $33. And you can go ahead and get access to that through our website at tgndconsulting.com.
And then we are also offering strategy sessions. So we've opened up to mini strategy sessions as well, to where we set a day where we do mini strategies. So it can be 2 hours, or we can do a full strategy session up to 4 to 5 hours, where we help clients flush through their brand. We create marketing framework. We help you do a lot of the nitty gritty, because as we mentioned throughout this interview here, you can't do everything yourself. So a lot of people don't even know where to strategize at to start to build team, or to hire interns, or where should I be showing up at? Who should I create partnerships with? So we help them do that through strategizing, and that is after we provide the breakthrough, as Dwayna mentioned. So we do have many strategy sessions, strategize PR brand architect strategy sessions as well. You can book those by visiting our website, as Dwayna mentioned, at tgndconsulting.com. And we will set up a PR analysis call to kind of talk about your needs, and then we'll get it rolling. And once we do the strategy sessions with you, we provide any additional things that you need. So as well, like any collateral and things that you need to be seen for your brand. Um, and then also, one of the things too, for any mompreneurs listening to this interview, make sure you join our mom community. It is on Facebook. It is called Mommy Hustle. It is a community that we created to help inspire, motivate, and keep people at the forefront of their mindset and growing in this industry. Because as a mompreneur, I mean, we can have other women entrepreneurs, men in this entrepreneurship journey that can, we can relate to, but no one can really truly relate to the journey like another mompreneur. So this is one of the reasons why we created the group. We know that it's a need, and we know that there's not a lot of spaces created for us, especially melanated women.
Yeah, so we literally just gave a rundown. So we realized our clients may come from these three different entities. They may be first starting off, and they may need to start off with the Mommy Hustle group, which helps with your spiritual and mental wellness, because we do live streams, we bring coaches in, we inspire, we motivate in that group. Or you may already be great when it comes to just your spiritual and mental wellness. You already got past that stage in business, but you need help crafting your story. You may have a story, as I mentioned, that you not necessarily think that it may be missing some pieces, or you may need help crafting it in entirety. Then we have our other clients that already have the story, already are clear on their story, but wants more of the how-to. So we have different things for everybody. Okay. So we have the free opportunity for you to just join the group if you're just starting off. If you need help crafting your story, you'll fall in that second category of getting ready to create your breakthrough. And then you may fall in the third category if you already have your story together and your spiritual and mental wellness great.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I just want to say thank you both. Let me say thank you all three of y'all during this entire interview. I appreciate you all taking the time. I know that everyone is really, really busy, so we appreciate it. Our listeners, I know, appreciate it. And thank you for all the names that you all provide. And
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank
And
you for
Jojo
having
said thank
us.
you too.
Thank you.